So for those of you guys that I've never introduced myself, or if you don't know me, my name is Darren. I'll be doing my presentation on my capstone internship. So Q was kind of talking about it earlier. EXOS. I did my internship over there, located in North Phoenix. They actually have 3 big locations, but the one in Phoenix is the most popular one. They have one in Frisco, Texas, which is just north of Dallas, and their other one in Gulf Breeze, Florida. I'm not too sure in Florida where that is. But a little bit about EXOS, if you've never heard of it. They pride themselves in being like the pioneers of the pinnacle of human and sports performance, founded in like 1999. Originally used to be called API Athletics Performance Institute, but rebranded to EXOS in like 2011, 2014. Some facility highlights. Here's a couple photos of the facility. This isn't all of it. It's a 31,000 square foot facility. The one at the top right is kind of just like the weight room area. And that left bottom corner is like a team of physical therapists. On the bottom right corner is a bunch of cardio machines like assault bikes, curved treadmills, and VersaClimbers. There's a 60-yard turf you can see in the bottom left. There's a half-court basketball court, and then out here there's actually like batting cages, and also a place that you can throw a bullpen for baseball players. There's also a cold plunge, a kitchen, on-site nutritionist, a shake bar, all that kind of stuff. And then on the bottom right was actually my intern coordinator. He wasn't our intern coordinator when we first got there. It was originally a guy named Drew. And then literally the first week that we got there on January 2nd, he did our orientation, and then his wife popped the baby, and then he moved to Detroit because he took a job with the Tigers. So they switched it to Giovanni, who's actually a good friend of Tony Acevedo, because he is the head of tactile education in EXOS, and if you guys know, Tony Acevedo is huge in tactical strength and conditioning. And so it's kind of cool that they're mutual friends. I kind of got a funny, quote from him that I found on Google that talks about how discomfort leads to growth. So why EXOS? Why did I pick this internship? And how will this internship help me? Well, first off, I actually looked into this internship before I joined Capstone. So I actually was looking for an internship last semester at the beginning, just to get my foot in the door for sports performance. I never had any experience in the sports performance strength conditioning world. So I just wanted to find at least something. So I was actually supposed to do this last semester, but they told me that I need, because it's unpaid, and they want someone that has course credit to supplement the fact that it's unpaid. So I'm just doing it this semester for this course. And not only that, but this internship actually is gonna help me a lot, because next year, when I'm at grad school, I'll actually be traveling with the Pittsburgh men's basketball team, doing strength and conditioning and sports science at the away and the home games, kind of doing all the practices. So a GA position, realistically. So I know last slide was a lot of photos, so this one's a little text heavy, I apologize guys. But these are my learning goals and if I met them or not. The first one was to learn and study the EXOS education. EXOS has its own education system, just like the NSCA has its CSCS. The EXOS actually has what's called the XPS, which is actually worth $1,200 worth in value. Throughout my 4 months there, we actually were given the online modules for free, and every Wednesday we got together as like a team with the coaches, and we went over one topic. We went over it in person, whether it was Olympic lifting, warm up, program design, all that stuff. So first one was to learn and study that, and I kind of did that every week with the online modules. The second one was be able to hone coaching ability by getting reps, working and leading sessions. I led this one. At the start, I didn't really get a lot of reps, obviously, because I was a new intern and they weren't too confident with me. But obviously, as my time was there and I earned more trust with the coaches, they allowed me to get more and more reps, as in like today, where I get to at least lead one session throughout the day. Third one was build rapport with coaches, interns, and athletes to create a good work environment and for future networking opportunities. This one, I met this one was actually really cool. All the coaches over there at EXOS actually all come from a professional background, whether it's MLB, NFL, NHL, or just like my intern coordinator come from the tactical. And then the interns was also a cool one too. There were 6 of us in total. One of them actually goes to GCU also. The other one goes to ASU, but the other 3 were actually out of state. I didn't know that they were taking out of state interns. One of them was from Auburn University in Alabama. The other one was from Illinois State, which I think that's where Keel went. And then the third one was University of Florida in Gainesville. So literally after New Year's, they flew down here and they kind of just were doing this internship with us as well. The fourth one, well, I don't know what the numbers are messed up. The fourth one was learn to operate and analyze the data in the sports science equipment. This one was really important for me because something that I want to get more into as my higher education kind of explores more. I want to get more into the research side and sports science rather than the practitioner side. So they had a lot of cool stuff. They were like force plates. I believe we have those here at GCU now. There was a Nord board, which is like this cool machine where you kind of do a Nordic hamstring and it tests how much force is being produced by each hamstring so we can find imbalances. The third one, which I thought was the coolest, was Push. It's this little device that links to the iPad. You literally Velcro wrap it onto the barbell or the trap bar, and when the athlete lifts the barbell, literally the meters per second shows up on the iPad, and so we could literally prescribe force velocity curve prescriptions using that instead of actually using numbers for weight. And the fourth one, which was a cool one, which was like a Dari motion analysis, is literally if you took this room in half and there was like a bunch of cameras that were 360, you were in the middle, and you did like a series of movements like a lateral lunge or like a forward lunge with a rotation, it was actually able to pick up compensations and it would like write that down in the analysis. So that would actually help the strength and conditioning practitioners like personalized workout programs knowing that they have compensations. The fifth one was to improve my own physical performance by doing the EXOS internship program that the coaches wrote for us for my 4 months there. So I thought this one was a really cool one. So actually when we got there, our internship coordinator wrote our 4 months workout program when we were there. Kind of for fun, but also because it's one thing if you're coaching the workout programs using their methodology, but it's another thing when you've actually experienced the fatigue and kind of the mental integrity it takes to go throughout these workouts. So as I was doing these, and I would do it every morning, and then I get to the session, when athletes are kind of burnt out, I understand the feeling, and so if an athlete is more fatigued and we've done the workout before, we could kind of just cut it early so they don't have to overload themselves. Sixth one was more of a personal one also, was to introduce myself to the director of sports science at EXOS to learn the qualifications and paths to that occupation. So this one was actually a cool one. So the director of sports science was a guy named Matt Darnell, who'd been working there for a year now. I introduced myself to him and I was talking about like what other colleges are good to apply for sports science programs, since it's something that's fairly new in the United States, not so new in other parts like Europe and Australia. And he was actually telling me that he founded a master's program at a school 5 years ago. And I kind of asked him like, what school was that? And he actually told me it was the University of Pittsburgh. And I was like, yo, like I actually applied there. And as we were talking more about like what it takes to be a sports scientist. And then by the end of the conversation, he actually texted the woman that's the new program director there. And literally the next morning I woke up, I got an email from her saying they accepted me into the program. So I hope I got in because of my merit and my capabilities, not because I knew somebody. I feel like I'm a pretty good student, so I hope that is. The seventh one was practice writing programs using the EXOS methodology. I met this one. We actually had 2 homework assignments at EXOS. One was to write a 4-week program for a hypothetical NBA player. The other one was to write a hypothetical program for a volleyball player that was just acceleration based. So I got that done and I met with some coaches and we tweaked it, and I could use those programs for job opportunities in the future. If recruiting coordinators are like, have you done anything in the past? Can I see a little bit of it? And then the last one is to be able to pass the XPS certification, like what I was talking about in the first goal, to become an EXOS Certified Performance Specialist. That one's to be determined because we haven't finished the education system yet. So, I mean, once that one finishes, I guess we'll see if I pass that one. So my responsibilities over there at EXOS, I put just 5. The first one was a set in the takedown sessions. I usually would come in 15 minutes prior to help set up the session. And when the session is done, we take it down. The second one was lead warm-ups. At the beginning, this wasn't true, but when we got to the warm-up section for the education, I got to do this a lot more. And honestly, now every session that I'm a part of, the coach says, hey Darren, can you just run the session so I could just go lounge around and talk to other people. The third one was to create the pre and post workout shakes for the athletes. All athletes got pre and post workout shakes. The fourth one was a coach and the lead lift. This one was sometimes, like I was talking about the learning goals. This one was honestly only true to me since I had my CSCS and I was able to do stuff where the coach didn't have to look at me, versus the other interns that didn't have it yet, they had to be under coach supervision the whole time. And the last one was just to report to coaches, just to take constructive criticism to learn more about coaching. This is just an example day. I took the schedule that I had on Tuesday. 5 a.m. I would come in, I would arrive, and I would work out at EXOS. 6:30 I would shower. Then 7 a.m. I would have my first session. That one was the NFL semi-private. Then the 8:31 I had another NFL session. Then 11 a.m. I would have an adult semi-private. Then 12 p.m. lunch. And then 1:30 I would have elite college group. And then the 3:30 was post-grad baseball. So it's jam-packed. Obviously this is day dependent. This was only my schedule Tuesdays and Thursdays because I was there the whole day. Monday and Friday, like today, I'm only there the end of the day because I have classes in the morning. And then an example of what a session looks like at EXOS. So pillar prep and movement prep is kind of like a warm up. And then after we warm the athlete up, we go into movement skills. And the movement skills that we work on at EXOS are either acceleration or like lateral, like a push to base, absolute speed, which is just top end speed. We'd get them on the curved treadmill and work on spring mechanics. And then the fourth one is crossover. And then after that, we would head in and we would do a lift. Sometimes the lifts would just be upper pull, lower push day, so a total body, or it'd be the counterpart of that, which is an upper push, lower pull. And always to wrap it up, at the session, we always do conditioning with the athlete. Not the favorite part, but I mean, we just gotta get better somehow. These are some of the populations, some of the athletes we worked at EXOS. There was more populations that we saw, but these are the ones that I personally worked with over there. There was the NFL Combine, that one was ridiculous. That was like 8 weeks of just 60 college dudes just walking around. NFL PA, which is a retired NFL. We had MLB, who was there before their off season, before they went to the spring training. We had US Olympic athletes, adult semi-private. We were probably, like the guy before me was saying, probably one of the richest people in the world. Literally one of them was talking about how he flies his own plane from Sedona to SoCal to go see his family. And there was also high school athletes, post-grad baseball, and honestly my favorite population that I saw was the tactical. We had a group, the pararescue Air Force guys from Tucson come up for like a 1 week experience. And that was a lot of fun. And then I just put a couple of photos of some of the athletes that we saw. Probably the best one on that list was the top right one, Xavier Worthy. He actually broke the 40-yard dash record at the NFL Combine, and he spent his 8 weeks at EXOS. So it was cool to see the behind the scenes, what we did to help him get ready for that 40-yard dash. And we kind of knew he was gonna break the record going into it since we were doing official times every week. Conclusion, I honestly enjoyed my overall experience. Like I said, I gained a lot of connections, future opportunities. And like I said, I even got into grad school to work a GA ship with the basketball team. The second thing that I learned from my time at EXOS is I realized I knew nothing about strength and conditioning. I'm not really an egotistical person, but I mean, having my CSCS I'm doing, writing programs for 455, I thought I at least knew a little bit, but when I got there, I kind of realized that everything that I learned in the textbook and all the right answers on the test were absolutely wrong, which made sense because that was 2015, now we're in 2024. So like nowadays, I mean, that's just the standard for back then, but again, now there's better ways to do it. Third thing I learned is that I got this critique from a lot of coaches where I need to be more tactile on athletes. That's just be more hands-on with them. Not really an excuse, but I have a hard time being hands-on with athletes because I previously, before sports programs, I used to work with a lot of kids, like Boys and Girls Club, and you don't really want to touch kids because perception is reality and someone can see me as like a weirdo. The last one was become a social chameleon, especially in the practitioner side. This one was really interesting and something I still struggle with today. And I remember a story, or not really a story, but I remember an experience that I had. Literally, we got there January 2nd and we just went on the ground running. I had to do the MLB group, and like you're a 22-year-old guy, like going into a session with like 20 MLB dudes that are like multi-million-dollar players, like 29 years old, 33, and they're kind of looking at you like, why is this guy telling me to ace skip? Like, what does this guy know about ace skip? Why is this guy telling me how to like show a dumbbell bench press properly? And same thing happened with NFL when we had like the NFL Combine and the NFL athletes. I kind of have to integrate myself into those sessions and just like kind of feed their own ego and just be able to be social with them when they don't really take me that serious. Because I'm only 22, and two, I don't have the most experience in the practitioner side of the field. So that was the end of my presentation.